Okay, guys, here we go. Lesson 6.2, Order of Operations. So, order of operations is going to be helping us learn how to solve problems when there's more than one operation in them. So, mathematicians came up with this. Everybody has to follow this particular order so that everybody, regardless of where they lived, would get the same exact answer. Okay, so let's give a couple different vocabs. First on, let's talk about numerical expressions. So expression is for us like writing down numbers and variables and operations in math, but when it's numerical, it's just there's no equal sign and there's no variables. Okay, so it's what I would say a math phrase. So not a sentence, but a math phrase that contains numbers and operations, but no equal sign. Okay, so what is the order of operations? Oh, odor. Nope, I don't think so. Order. And it's a series of steps to solve an expression. So something that doesn't have an equal sign. So everyone gets the same answer. Okay? So I'm going to, you probably have heard a teacher in the past use the word PEMDAS. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And each of those letters in PEMDAS stands for the order that we're going to do things. So P, E, M, D, A, S. So they're telling you the order of doing things. But I'm going to change it a little bit for middle school. And I'm going to change it to G, GEMDAS. And you're going to say, okay, I don't get any of it. Well, here's what this means. This is talking about grouping symbols. So something your teacher might have used PEMDAS, where P stands for parentheses. So that is a grouping symbol. But that's not it. There's also things called brackets. So they look like squared C and a backwards version of it. They have braces. Braces look like a forehead, a nose, and a chin. I can never do the right one very well. And actually, another grouping symbol is the fraction bar. Okay? So I like G for the beginning of the order of operations because grouping symbols incorporates or encompasses way more than just parentheses. So E, let's see, E, that's going to be exponents. So let's put big E here. And so that's exponents. Actually, I'm going to do that across the top. I like it better that way. Exponent. And if you think about it, our notes from yesterday also talked about the idea of power. So an example of that would be 4 to the 5th power. So exponents are the second priority. Okay. Now the next two are going to get split into two things. So let's do this guy. So we're going to go a little bit bigger and split in two. So we're going to talk about M or D. So M means to multiply, and D stands for to divide. So we're going to take care of anything that is in a grouping symbol. We're going to take care of exponents, and then we're going to multiply or divide. Now, we're going to keep this in mind as we go from left to right. So whichever comes up first in our expression, that's what we're going to do. So we're going to either do multiplication or division as it shows. And it may show up a couple different times. Okay? Now, what do you think the last thing is? Yep. Last two operations, that A and that S. A means to add, and S means to subtract. And again, as you go from left to right. Now, to be honest with you, you basically are going to follow the order of the numbers. So the first two, you're going to do the math, and then that answer, you're going to do it with the third number, and so on and so forth. Okay? So that going from left to right is always true for multiplication or division, and it's always true for adding and subtracting. Okay? So something else to kind of talk about that dovetails with grouping symbol is inside the grouping symbol, there may be more than one operation going on, so you're going to follow the order of operations, even inside. All right, so let's do one example here, and then we'll do some more on the next page. So here's what this looks like. 17 minus 5 squared divided by 2 plus 3. So what I like to do is I like to kind of number what order I'm going to follow. Okay? So first thing I notice is that I have a grouping symbol. So I'm going to do whatever's inside the grouping symbol. Okay? And inside the grouping symbol, I have adding. So I'm going to do my grouping symbol, and I'm going to do my adding. Okay? So what do I have? Now this is exactly what I'm going to be expecting to see from you guys, one step at a time. So 2 plus 3 is 5. Okay? Next, I don't have any more grouping symbols, so I look for any exponents. Aha, I see. Right here. So that's going to be the second step I take. So I'm going to do everything in front of it and behind it stays the same. So even the operation subtraction stays the same. And 5 squared is 5 times 5, which is 25. So I'll just put over here, 5 squared equals 5 times 5 equals 25. Now most of you already kind of know that. And then I'm going to write out the rest of the problem. Okay? Then I'm looking for any multiplication or division, and I see division. So that is going to be my third step. And so I get 17, and then I get a minus, and then 25 divided by 5 is 5. And the last thing I see is a subtraction problem. So that's going to be my fourth step. So basically this problem had 4 operations in it. Okay? It had subtraction, division, addition, and an exponent, which is fast multiplication. So then we get the answer of 12. Now, here's something I need you to pay attention to. When I finish doing my problems using order of operations, your work should look like an upside down triangle where it's widest at the top and it comes down to a point at the bottom. So that's what I'm going to be looking for. All right, so I'm going to go to my next screen and we're going to do just a couple more examples. So the directions are going to say find the value of each expression. which is a fancy way of just telling you to solve or simplify. Find the value of each expression. And we're going to do, some of them are going to be short and sweet. Okay, so I'm looking for any kind of grouping symbol. No. I'm looking for exponent. No. I'm looking for multiplication or division. Ha ha ha, yes. So that's where I'm going to begin. Now, do you have to write these numbers? No. I just like to organize myself like that. And then let's see. We get 3 times 5 is 15. Then, the only thing that's left is adding. So that's my second operation. And I get 4 plus 15 is 19. So that's going to be my answer. And you can see that I started broad at the top and down to a point at the bottom. So I've got another triangle. All right, let's try the next one. We've got 16 divided by 2 times 4. Okay. So, grouping symbol? No. Exponent? No. Multiplication or division? Yes. So I've got both. Where do I begin? Whatever shows up first. So I'm going to do the division first. 16 divided by 2 is 8. And then I write out the rest of the problem. Okay, what am I left with? Multiplication. So I'm going to do that next. And 8 times 4 is 32. And again, broad at the top, a little point at the bottom. All right, now we're going to get a little bit bigger. 20 divided by 4 plus 17 times the quantity. You're like, wait, stop, that's too much. The quantity 9 minus 6. All right, so here we go. Do I have any grouping symbols? Oh, yes, I do, right here. So that's where I'm going to begin. And inside the grouping symbol, I only have one thing to do, and that's to subtract. So everything else gets rewritten. 20 divided by 4 plus 17 times, and then 9 take away 6 is 3. Okay, now I look for exponents, and there aren't any. So the next thing I look for is multiplication or division, whichever comes up first. And what comes up first is the division. So I'm going to do that. 20 divided by 4 is 5. Then I just write out the rest. Okay, now I look for any other multiplication or division, and I do have multiplication, so that'll be my third operation. So the 5 doesn't change, the plus doesn't change. 7 times 3 is 51. How did I know that? I've done it so many times, I've memorized it. Okay? And then what I should be left with is either an adding or subtracting. And I happen to have adding, so that's my final operation. And 5 plus 51 is 56. Notice I started broad at the top and narrow at the bottom to a point. All right, here comes the doozy. This guy's got it all. We've got 5 plus the quantity 8 squared minus 2 times 2. Okay? All right, so let's look. Grouping symbol. Definitely have parentheses, but wait. There's more than one thing going on in that grouping symbol. So the first thing I know is I got to go over to the grouping symbol. But inside the grouping symbol, there's an exponent. So I'm actually going to do the exponent. So I'm going to give it a 1 because it's actually the first operation that I'm going to do. Though the 1 that's purple is telling me you have to start with the parentheses. Now, I have more than one thing in the parentheses, so I still have them. I haven't gotten rid of them yet. I have to take care of all the operations to make the parentheses go away. So first thing we do is 8 squared. So 8 times 8 is 64. Then we write out the rest. Okay. Then I still have the grouping symbols, so that's still going to be my second thing. And this time, though, I'm going to be actually subtracting because that's what's there. So I have 5 plus, and then 64, I'll make them orange. 64 take away 2 is 62. And then write out the times 2. So no more grouping symbols, no more exponents. So the next thing I look for is, do I have any multiplication or division? And sure enough, I do, way over here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I get 5, and then I have 62 times 2. And that's going to give me 124. Last step is to add, and I get 5 plus 124 is 129. So notice again, start off broad, and then I get to the narrow part. Okay, so I have one last thing, and it's a bit of a word problem. So I'm going to go ahead and stop. I'm going to pause the screen. I'm going to write it down, and then I'm going to pop it back up again, and you'll see the whole problem written out. And then you can pause, and then you can write it out. Okay, so here's the word problem. Alex and her 3 friends are at the mall. Each person buys a pretzel for $4, a sauce for $1, and a drink for $2. Write an expression for the total cost, or for the total, then find the total cost. Okay, so first thing I need to note is how many people there are. We have 4 people. Okay, now I want to kind of pay attention to what are all the different things that they're buying. So each person buys a pretzel for $4, a sauce for $1, and a drink for $2. Okay, so how I'm going to write up my expression is, I'm going to have 4 people, and they're going to buy a pretzel, that's $4. So this is the pretzels. Okay. Then we have 4 people, each buying a sauce, and each sauce is $1. And then each person, so 4 people, are going to buy a drink at $2 each. So that is my expression, okay? Now, there's another way to write this problem, and that's, well, I've got 4 people, and they're each going to pay $4 for the pretzel, and $1 for the sauce, and $2 for the drink. So that's a different way of writing it. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and solve the first way I wrote it. So I get 4 times 4 is 16, plus 4 times 1 is going to give me 4. And then I'm going to get 4 times 2 is 8. Okay, and what I end up with is I have to do order of operations, so I'm going to start as I go from left to right. 16 plus 4 is 20, and 20 plus 8 is 28. So I would conclude that Alex and her friends spend $28 on pretzels, sauces, and drinks. Oops, I put that right over that 8. That wasn't very nice. Let's do it this way. And there we go. So good luck with this, guys. We'll talk about it on Thursday and Friday. Bye now.